If you're anything like me and you have a family, we're a family of 5 and I have 3 very active kids after school. I used to find myself standing at the stove for a good hour trying to make dinner, standing there thinking it's a whole hour has passed. The kids are hangry, they're getting on each other's nerves, they're about to bite each other's heads off. And I had to find a simpler way to be able to get dinner on the table, especially after they finished doing their sports. So this is the video for you if you have been in that same situation or find yourself in that situation almost every night. No, we can't be doing that. Maybe you've tried the crock pots. Maybe you've tried all the other things, but it's just not coming together. If that sounds like you, this video, girlfriend, is for you. Let's get into the first tip and give this video a like if this is what you're into. Let's go. Just to give a little bit of a backstory, I am a project manager. So I have heaps of project management experience and I'm also a business analyst by day, not when I'm creating content for you guys. So I've somehow managed to infuse a lot of the things that I do around the house, I suppose, and even when it comes down to cooking, and I've infused that into my day-to-day because I found myself, as I said before, standing at the stove until 8:30 at night thinking, when is this dinner and this bolognese going to be cooked so I can actually feed my family and I can have 5 minutes to myself before I go to bed. So let's get into the first one. Just like you would block out days in your calendar or times in your calendar for a meeting, or block out certain things that need to happen in a project at work, for example, it's the same thing for dinner. It's the same thing for dinner. I already have it in my calendar when the kids' sports activities are happening and what's happening on those days and the different times. With that, with me knowing exactly when those things are and not keeping them in my head, but having them down somewhere where I can release that information, it's not clogging up my own brain. It allows me to think about, okay, well, Monday to Thursday for our family's calendar is pretty much sports all the time. There's sports on the weekend, but that's slightly different and I'll tackle that a little bit later. But from Monday to Thursday, there's a sports activity taking place, which means that everyone will probably get back at around, let's just say, it varies most days, but let's just say 7 p.m. So they'll eat when they come home. I don't want them to go to bed at really late. I don't want them to go to bed at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock or anything like that. So it means that the meal that I have available needs to be something that I can reheat. And reheating is the thing that I love to do. So I need to be able to reheat it and I need to get it on the table in 15 minutes, 30 minutes max. So I just block out those time, block out the kids' activities and know that those meals have to be ready and on the table, not with me pre-prepping salads and all of that stuff. Yes, we do have salads with our meals, but it's not, I'm not having to create lots and lots of different things. I need to be able to reheat it and have it on the table ready to go. Just like in a project where you would think about what are the top priorities and the things that you need to prioritize first, this is the same when it comes to meal prepping. I do high amount of prioritization. I am not about that life, as I said, to be able to stand at the stove and even on the weekends whilst I'm cooking, preparing, meal prepping, to be able to do that for hours on end. No. I prioritize the meals that I can get on the table fast and quick and easy that everyone can eat, and I know that I'm not going to be standing at the stove for 30 minutes or an hour preparing and getting dinner on the table after a very long day and they've all had sport practice and they're home at 7 o'clock. I'm a one pot wonder kind of gal. I like a stew, I like a curry, I like a bolognese sauce, I like any type of sauces, whatever it is, I make it in one pan on the weekend, ready for us to go Monday through to Thursday. And we don't necessarily have the same thing every single day. I'll talk about that later, but that's pretty much what I do. Prioritize. Oh, and if you're wondering who I am, my name is Jay. Hey, welcome to the channel. On this channel, we focus on all things decluttering, simplifying our lives as full-time working mums so we can really focus in on the things that matter and making coffee at the same time. If you're at that point and that season of life right now, then go ahead and consider subscribing. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so I'd love to be able to get there with your help. All right, let's get into the next tip. So in the upcoming video, make sure you're subscribed for that. I will talk about how I actually go about planning for the week and what that looks like. So I'll share that with you once that video is ready. And if it is ready, you'll be able to check it out here or at the link I'll leave it in the description. I like to think of this next step as your dependencies. Now, just like in any project, you have things that depend on certain things to be able to happen. Like with any Gantt chart, if you looked at it, something like that, you'd have something that would depend on something else. So for me to be able to come up with meal ideas and things that I can make for the kids and make for the family to eat, I do a bit of dependency mapping. I take a look at what I've already got. Simple as that. I take a look at what I already have in the freezer, and I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel and create something and buy a whole heap of new ingredients. No, I'm just going off what I've already got, you know? So if you can, and I'll talk about this a little bit later in the rest of the video, make sure that you're taking stock of what's in your pantry. Do you have beans in there and you can make a soup? Or do you have something in your freezer, maybe some meat that you've already purchased and used a while ago and it's been sitting in your freezer? Could you make something with that? Put it all together. Could you make like a nice ham hock soup, which is what I did recently? Have you got something like that where you could put those items together so that you're not reinventing the wheel and you're not kind of depending on one thing first, as in new ingredients, before you can get to the other? So in any project, you have those buffer periods and contingencies, right? It's the same with your meal planning. You've got to have those periods or those moments where you know that your kids are going to get super hungry and you look in your pantry and you're like, damn it, I have nothing to actually give them except for a tin of sweet corn. So if that's the case, I do like to go to Costco on a Saturday. I say I like to go, but I'm not the one that goes. I send my husband to go do that because I actually hate shopping. So he goes to Costco, goes and picks up, like I'll say, can you get me like 2 roast chickens, which works out really well. And I'll chop those up and I'll put them in the fridge. So then they're just there as options for the family when they do come home from school, especially if we have sports things that happen straight after school. So it starts at like 3:30 or 4:30 or something. And there's that window in between where it's actually too early to have dinner, but they still need to eat something before they go. So that's when I really depend on and have those like buffers in my fridge to be able to feed them so that they're not like just falling apart and I have to deal with the aftermath of them literally wanting to eat each other at the same time. So in most projects, you have some sort of standard operating procedure, right? An SOP or something like that, which is really what this step is all about. I have a standard operating procedure when I go shopping or go to the supermarket to buy some food, that I'll buy the food for that meal or those meals that I'm going to make for that week. But then I'll also have a scan to see either what's available, what's on special offer, what's either there that I can purchase that I can use for next time, like I talked about earlier. So I found that that really helps. For example, I went to the supermarket a few weeks ago and that it was at the end of the day during the week and they had some sourdough, you know, that's like, it's the end of the day, it's freshly baked, but it was the end of the day. They're either going to toss it out and it wasn't very expensive. So I thought, oh, sourdough. I wasn't sure what I was going to use it for. I was like, oh, the kids could, you know, toast it the next morning, but I just put them in bags and then I put them in the freezer. Now, especially for this week in particular, I made a ham hock soup. I did a scan of my freezer already to see what I already had. I had the ham hock, I had some tins already, and then I thought, oh, I had some tins of some beans, and then I thought, oh, actually, when I make that soup, I can get out the bread, the sourdough bread, and we can have that, and that's a healthy, nutritious meal that I know that everyone will eat, and it's worked out well. So do think about those meals that you can plan ahead for. So not just in the moment for the ingredients that you need today, but the ones that you might need for down the track, whether that be tins of beans, or in my case, I found some Thai red curry paste that I thought, oh, I'll make a curry with that maybe in a couple of weeks time or something, and I picked that up then. So then when I go in to actually meal plan for the coming weeks, I can look in my pantry and be like, oh, I've actually got something to start with. I'm not starting from ground zero. It's just like when you have a project plan, right? You don't want to start with a completely blank project plan template. You actually want to start with something already in there. Not even in there, but you already have a template to work with. And that makes things so much easier. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show, which will just be up here, I'm going to share with you actually how I go about meal planning for the week. So you can see all all of these steps that I shared in action. Keep fighting for simplicity, gorgeous. See you in the next one. Bye.